So we're coming up on the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary. It's on October 8th. And obviously for 30 years of Mortal Kombat, the question probably comes up a lot. What is your favorite era of Mortal Kombat? Well, Tabmock99 on Twitter did a poll, and I'm going to go over the results of that poll and what that kind of really means for Mortal Kombat going forward, and kind of give you my personal thoughts of what I think my favorite era is. So breaking down the eras of Mortal Kombat, there's pretty much three main eras, I guess you could kind of say. There's the 2D, the 3D, and the NetherRealm Studios kind of post-midway eras of Mortal Kombat. So breaking it down more granularly, we got 2D, which is Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and the Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And that was kind of the live action actors that kind of portrayed the characters. What was always interesting is, 2D, you think more of like the pixelated characters, which these kind of were, but because there was kind of motion, live motion action going on, it kind of took you out of that a little bit and made it seem like it was more in my mind, more 3D like characters in a 2D game, if that makes sense. But that was a very popular time and period for Mortal Kombat that kind of set the stage going forward as far as the branding, the legacy. That's what a lot of people still think of when it comes to Mortal Kombat. Me personally, that's the same way. I'm a kid of the 90s, and I remember playing, the Mortal Kombat on Nintendo. I remember playing Mortal Kombat 3 in the arcades. Having Mortal Kombat Trilogy was one of the first PlayStation games I had. So to me, that era is always special to me. Moving on to 3D, this is an era that kind of scoped a large period of time, and this had to do with the gradual stages of when technology was developing. We went from the cartridge games to more of the disc-based games. So we had like, Dreamcast, and we had, well, I guess if you could also include Nintendo 64, that still was cartridge, but you had that Nintendo 64, you had the Xbox, the PlayStation. So you had all these kind of systems going on, and they allowed for better technology. You also had PC. So Mortal Kombat 4 was the one that led it off for the 3D era of games, and we led into Deadly Alliance, then Deception, Armageddon, and then of course the fan favorite, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, right? And so that's a lot of games. That's 5 games. There's a lot of games in between that, but these are kind of the mainstays and like the main tournament style games out there. So those games alone kind of make up the 3D era of Mortal Kombat. And then after that, you have NetherRealm Studios. So Midway basically went out of business and or became NetherRealm Studios, however you want to look at it. And we got Mortal Kombat the reboot, which was technically Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 10, and then Mortal Kombat 11, which is the most recent. So those make up the NetherRealm Studios era of Mortal Kombat games. So a lot of different things going on with the Mortal Kombat through those various eras. And I think no matter which one you look at, either the 2D era, the 3D era, or the NetherRealm Studios era, I think with each of those times, with all the years that pass, Mortal Kombat gains new fans, new fan base, new gamers. Obviously with Mortal Kombat 11 selling double-digit millions copies sold, it's obviously a game that is still popular today and will probably continue to be popular going forward because, from my channel alone, when I started it, I never intended to make a lot of Mortal Kombat videos, but I made them and y'all enjoy them, and I am a fan myself, so I enjoy making them and having discussions with you. So as long as that keeps being a thing and Mortal Kombat's still around and I enjoy talking about it, that's how things go. So I wanted to talk about this poll I saw on Twitter because it was very interesting to me because a lot of times nowadays I feel like doing these videos, I find that there's a lot of hate on the NetherRealm Studios era. I don't know if it's because, the games are just so much different whether you go from the 2D to the NetherRealm Studios. The 2D was more all about just the fighting gameplay, I felt like, and the story kind of took the back seat. All the characters had a story, they had an ending, but that wasn't the main focus of the game, right? And then you have the NetherRealm Studios era, which I feel like tries to do both. You can have just a straight fighting, but there's mostly a story involved between all three games, the whole series of NetherRealm Studios. And to me, I like that a lot. I appreciate both, but I like that a lot. So, as I said, Tabmot99 did a Twitter poll, and he said, "What is the favorite era of Mortal Kombat?" Asking Twitter fans, and he had 2D using live actors, the 3D era, the NetherRealm Studios era, and the other, which I didn't really look into the other because only 1%, so it wasn't that much. But out of 763 votes, 38.4% picked 2D era using live actors, 28.8% picked the 3D era, and 31.7% picked the NetherRealm Studios era. Now, as I said earlier, there's always a special place in my heart for the 2D era because that's what I grew up with. Those were my first introductions to Mortal Kombat, so I always have a special place in my heart with those games. But I think over time, I really enjoyed the NetherRealm Studios era more, and that's what I picked for my choice, just because I like the lore of Mortal Kombat. I loved I love diving into the characters' history, their interactions with each other, what the past, present, and future sets for Mortal Kombat. I like that kind of stuff. So for me, I appreciate the story mode and the story aspects of Mortal Kombat more than just the fighting. So I picked NetherRealm Studios era. For me personally, with the 3D era, it's kind of a weird point in time because I feel like with technology in that time, especially with Mortal Kombat 4, like I remember playing that with my friends and we played it for a little bit, but it just wasn't. There was so many other things going on in that time, with the PlayStation 2, you had other games vying for your attention, like Twisted Metal, Halo. When Halo came out, I mean, I remember our friends, we played Twisted Metal, we played a lot of, you know, um, first person, uh, I'm at a lost words. I'm trying to remember. There were so many of them, but I remember playing, like basketball games, Madden, like those games. But I know when Halo came on the scene, even Call of Duty, those games just kind of took over. And I feel like some of these Mortal Kombat games kind of just got like pushed to the side a little bit. Yes, it was cool that they were 3D versions of them, but I just don't think the games were as strong. I think it was up until, honestly, for me, I started playing Mortal Kombat again after Trilogy and 4. I picked it up again at Armageddon. That's when I played again. Armageddon, DC Universe, and then from that point forward, I've continued playing it, casually for competitive, whatever you can call it. But for me, that's when it was. So for me, the 3D era is probably the weakest in my eyes. And I think for a lot of people, given the 28%, they're all around 30, but I think that makes a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of people that are Mortal Kombat fans have been around for a long time. That makes a lot of sense to them too, that the 3D era be kind of the weakest point of Mortal Kombat. I think it was a great evolution in time for Mortal Kombat games because you had a lot of platforms to play it on. You had Game Boy. I mean, I remember playing I remember playing Mortal Kombat on the PlayStation Vita, it wasn't the Vita at the time, it was the PSP, PlayStation Portable, and I think that was a version of Deception. I think it was a version of Deception that was on there, but I remember playing that, but it just, you know, didn't it didn't keep my attention for very long. But I remember, you had the Game Boy Advance, you had the Wii, you had all these different versions of consoles come out, the GameCube. So you had Mortal Kombat kind of go through multiple evolutions over time, and I feel like there was a lot of games in between there that could take advantage of that. But to me, the 3D era is always just, that's my opinion, that wasn't as strong. But I like that the 2D era got a lot of votes because, like I said, because it holds a special place in my heart. And I think for older Mortal Kombat fans and fans that have been around for a long time, to them, when they think of Mortal Kombat, they think of those actors. They think of, like, for me, in my head, if I think about it, I think of the actress that played Sindel. I think of the actor that played Kuai Liang's Sub-Zero. I think of Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, Jax, of course, Sonya Blade. Those are all, I mean, Johnny Cage. I mean, those are all mainstays that stick in my head of actors and actresses that play those games. And that is Mortal Kombat to me. I enjoy the story, so that's why I picked NetherRealm Studios. But in my mind, when I think of Mortal Kombat, that's the first thing I go to is I call it OG Mortal Kombat. So, given the results, what do you think about what fans picked? Do you agree that the 2D using live actors is the fan favorite era of Mortal Kombat? Do you agree with that choice? And what is your pick? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's it for this video, guys. Make sure that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.